Back on ABC24 This week, we're talking now about each of our choices for Story of the Year in 2023. This was not an easy year to choose a Story of the Year by any means, especially since we're all trying to choose different winners, but we'll start with you, Otis, and your choice.
Well, my choice, obviously, and we alluded to it in the first segment, it is the death of Tyree Nichols, obviously. I mean, that's...
Well, I had a different choice for you.
Oh, did you have a different choice for me?
That's my choice.
Oh, that's your choice.
Which shows this is a popular choice, unfortunately.
Well, then help me remember what my choice.
I think your choice, Otis, was the expulsion of the Tennessee Three.
Oh, right.
Yes. Okay,
that's right. I did. The brain is the first thing to go here. Right. I think, other than the Tyree Nichols, that story got national attention this year when, after the shooting, fatal shooting at the Covenant School, people showed up at the legislature demanding change. The legislature just said, go away, drop dead, pretty much. And you had these three Democrats who stood up on the floor. Maybe they did violate some decorum on doing that, but then they got expelled. And that just created a firestorm, made them national figures, and it showed just how embarrassing this legislature is.
Made Tennessee a laughingstock of the whole country.
Laughingstock, well deserved. So that, other than Tyree Nichols, was the big story.
Sam Hardman.
Yeah, so my story was the dispute between Blue Cross Blue Shield and Methodist Le Bonheur, and that got settled in June. And for 6 months, from the 31st of 2022 to essentially the middle of June, a bunch of families who needed care for their children.
Thousands of families.
Thousands of families did not have care for those children. And when we're talking about like meat and potatoes issues, kitchen table issues, that's probably the most kitchen table issue of the year for Memphis.
Deidre, we know your choice, but go ahead and it's an obvious one, obviously. There's no bigger story for sure than Tyree Nichols.
No bigger story than the death of Tyree Nichols.
Yeah.
The 5 police officers that brutally attacked him. The video went international. The Justice Department has come in to investigate the Memphis Police Department. The Vice President of the United States, Kamala Harris, Reverend Al Sharpton, came to Mr. Nichols' funeral, and the story continues to this day. So that's the biggest story of the year for me. Yeah.
I understand that choice.
And we haven't had anything like that since Elton Hayes in 1971. That vicious and that brutal by the police.
That's right.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see in 2024 how we address that with some really concrete issues and proposals that I know are being talked about, but haven't come to surface yet. Yeah. Susan.
Well, the story of the year, I just want to take a moment to say that a year ago on this show, I predicted that the story of 2023 would be the mayor election, second only to crime.
And you think you won?
I think I won.
Who evaluates?
There's no doubt about it. To me, of course, the mayoral election, we have elected a young, new mayor who, it's a new generation.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of hope. It's a blank slate, but let's say it's a lot of hope. But crime was really the big story of 2023. I mean, we had record murders, 4,000 plus robberies and car thefts. And I think that was without question the story of the year. When we were young reporters, and I was young once, Sam, we learned that the one story that was always on the front page or would be the top of the news was the weather, because it affected everybody's lives every day. I think it's been replaced by crime. And here in Memphis, everybody, you wake up thinking about it, and you talk about it at the dinner table. It's unfortunately, but that to me was the...
Well, starting in late 2022, but then all through 23, record after record was broken. The crime problem, as we've all referred to it, became a crime crisis. And I think that's been the big difference in crime, unfortunately, this year. All right, my choice for Story of the Year is MLGW. It's kind of along the vein of Wanda Halbert, honestly. It shouldn't have to be this complicated. You walk into a room, your lights turn on, you get one bill a month, not 5 or 6. Your utility keeps track of tree trimming, make sure its infrastructure is up to snuff. And none of that happened with MLGW. And it's just frustrating. I don't understand how Memphians are as patient as they are, honestly, because, as I said, something that should be a relatively simple transaction is constantly complicated, constantly bungled up. Now we've got this 12% rate hike. I sure hope we start to see some progress.
So push back on that a little
Push
bit,
back all
Richard.
you want.
I would say, look, like, who told you about how bad MLG&W is at tree trimming? MLG&W told you about it, right?
Right.
Like, I think this was a year where MLG&W looked itself in the mirror and said, hey, we're not looking too good.
Well, they did tell us about that before when they had the last rate hike of 7.2%.
Let me push back on that a little bit. In 2019, MLGW paid for their own study, and that study said that the #1 reason for outages in Memphis and Shelby County is overgrowth of vegetation and trees.
Right.
That's right.
And now, okay, so
Well, and now they're throwing money at the problem. Where was the money thrown at the problem under the?
where is the money?
There you go.
Yeah.
I think their books are public. I don't think it's a conspiracy. I think there's a
There
lot
you
said
go.
about it.
Good luck getting in those books.
Well, MLGW, I'm not pointing any fingers at any administration, but it's just been a long time problem. All right, when we come back, we'll talk about what we all think will be the story of the year in 2024 when we come right back.